this. Okay, so now I got the record on. Basically, I really want to spend as much time tonight as I can working with you on a number of different aspects of this trifold brochure. Do you guys, Dee, Benita, do you guys have any experience so far with Adobe InDesign?
Yes.
You do?
I do too. I have done InDesign as well, yes.
Okay, so it's not going to be totally strange to you.
No.
Okay, so you're going to know, because I've got a brochure that I'm going to demonstrate some things on, but I doubt very much that I'm going to be able to do the entire, I don't think I'll actually be able to build the entire brochure. So, you know, it's going to be kind of like, and you don't have to make a brochure as complex as mine. You can make it simpler if you want. I just want to show you some of the possibilities, because unlike last week, we were working with 2 colors and a black, 2 Pantone colors and a black. This week we're going 4-color process. And the nice thing about 4-color process is, in a certain way, the sky's the limit as far as creativity goes. You can do 10 times more interesting things using 4-color process than you can with 2-color and then a black. So that's something that you should know about. And I want to give you a really good idea of what I mean by taking a look at the one that I did. All right?
Okay.
All right. So the first thing I want to do is, before I even get into the PowerPoint, here is the week 3 getting a bid. Instead of taking an exam this week, what you're going to be doing is you're going to get 2 bids from 2. Oh, you know what? Hold on. One more thing. Annotate. Let me get my highlighter and my mouse. Okay. So hopefully now you are going to be able to see. Come on. Where's my highlighter? Oh, I want Spotlight. That's what it is. Spotlight and mouse.
Oh, excuse me. Speaking of exams, will our last exams be graded soon?
What?
Our last week assessments, they're almost graded.
Yeah, they're graded.
Mine isn't. It's still saying that you're working on it.
And this is D?
No, this is Benita. I'm sorry.
Oh, Benita? All right, let me write it down. Hold on, let me just check it out. Check. Benita's week 2 assessment.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this is D. The last time I checked it, it didn't have a grade either, which was a little earlier today. But I haven't checked it again since.
Well, I graded it earlier, so I'll double check it and check these too. Okay, I got it. I'll check them both.
Thank you.
So week 3, getting a bid. All right, here's the thing. You're just going to go and get 2 different printers in your area for each of the following projects. So in other words, you're going to submit. What I would do is I would find a printer that could do both of these, a poster and a trifold brochure, which most printers will do. So what you would do is find 2 printers, and you're going to tell them that you want to create this event poster in a quantity of 250. The size of it is 11 by 17. The color is 4/0. 4/0 means it's 4 color on one side and no color printing on the back. You got that?
Say that one more time.
4/0. That's what that means. 4/0 means 4/0. And essentially what that means is 4-color process over nothing. There's nothing printing on the back. 0.
Okay.
Does it have to be a printer nearby, like a local area printer? Because
no. Any printer you want. You can do it online, whatever you want.
I asked.
Go ahead.
Okay, no, I asked because my brother-in-law, rather, he used to own a printing press. He might be able to help me out with this.
Okay, well, you can ask him, but you still should get another printer. You should get a second opinion on it. And I want you to...
Oh, sure, definitely.
Oh, that's fine. I want to point this out to you. This is very important. Notice what it says about the paper. The paper is 100-pound text gloss. So the point is, last week we worked with coated, and coated in gloss essentially means the same thing. So what you're working with in this event poster, and by the way, the trifold brochure, which is 80-pound text gloss, both of these are coated stocks, okay? That's the same kind of stock that we would have been using for our card last week. So
Okay.
that's really what it is. You're going to get me a quote for each of them. The trifold brochure, you're going to have them quote 5,000 pieces. The flat size is 8.5 by 11. And the finished size, which means essentially when it's folded down into its trifold state, is 3 6/67 by 8.5. And it's 4/4. And the reason it's 4/4 is because you're actually going to be printing both sides. Since it's a trifold brochure, in order to make it work, both sides have to be printed. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Have either one of you guys ever seen a trifold brochure before?
Yes.
I've actually made some, but not on any of the applications we're using now.
Okay.
Same here.
Okay, so as long as you have some idea what we're talking about, that's good. That's good enough. All right. So I'm going to ditch this. You're okay with that?
Yep.
All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly zip through. Let me see how many slides I got here. I got, come on. I got 14 slides. I really don't even want to go through all 14 of these slides, but let's see how quickly I can do it. You do have this, I believe, right, Benita? You said you were in and saw yours?
Yes.
Okay, you saw this one was there as well?
Yes.
The reason that I'm really here is for that right there. Number 6, that shows the way the slide, the way the trifold brochure sets up. So let me go to slideshow from beginning. All right, and I'm just going to zip through this. Okay, trifold brochure, number 10, trifold brochure. It's still a staple in the marketing world. Trifolds fits into envelopes and display racks, serves as a low-cost sales and marketing piece for nearly any business. 3 trends contribute to the reduction in elaborate printing market pieces and resurgence of the number 10 brochure. The increased importance of a website. I'm not going to read all this. I really am not. I don't have time. I got other things to do. You got this. You read it. Set up your margins correctly. This is the tips, though, I do want to read. Set up your margins correctly. Use a template from your printer. Both of you received a template from me. Pretend I'm your printer. What I want to tell you is, once you start developing print projects for whoever, make sure that you know who the printer is going to be. And always talk to the printer to find out margins, safety areas, bleed areas, see whether they need CMYK or RGB. You know, check out these things when you're doing a project. Talk to your printer. Also, whatever the piece might be, if it's a trifold brochure, ask the printer, does he have a template in the program that you're going to work in? Generally, you're going to be doing this in InDesign. More than likely, and I can't say 100% certain all the time, but very often, most of the time, you'll find that these printers will have a template for you to use. And it does cut down on the work, make things go a lot quicker, and you can count on their template being right on the money. So if you know to do this, then you will do it. And you're hearing me tell you to do it, okay?
Okay.
Order the information correctly. What that means essentially is make sure you communicate with the printer and he knows exactly what's going on. Use the inside 3 panels wisely. When you're creating a piece like this, it folds and you look at it as it unfolds. Make sure that you use every fold as it expands out wisely, not just the inside panels. But the inside panels are particularly important because they open up and you get almost a poster kind of effect out of them. So think about this when you do it. Produce and fold mock-ups. What a mock-up is in the case of this is nothing more than just a regular old piece of paper that you're going to fold to see. And then try something big. By choosing graphics that bleed off the edge or run into another panel, this can be a way to make your design much more impactful. And that's really a good bit of information. Don't be boring when you do design work. Nobody likes a boring designer. Okay, I'm not going to go through this. You can read it. This is really why I brought us here. This here is the trifold brochure that I am going to be demonstrating some of tonight. And I wanted you to get a sense of what it looks like when it folds up. This would be the front outside cover, and then this would be part of the inside spread. And notice that I have the headline here and the subheadline. Notice how I've got that moving on to the second panel as well, just like it was saying back there. Back on the slide before, remember it said to do that?
Yes.
Yeah. So be careful when you do these things and be tasteful when you do it. But remember that it is also possible to do it. Okay?
Okay.
Now, this is really why I want you to look at this. Because if you use your imagination, what you're looking at here is basically the trifold brochure template. This is the outside. So what you have on the rightmost panel of the outside is your front cover. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. In the middle, right next to the front cover, is the back cover. Now, this is important for you to understand. The back cover and the front cover panels are exactly the same size. This is the inset panel or the fold over panel. And this panel, since it folds between the front and the back, has to be a tad smaller. So it's very important for you to understand that this and this are the same size. This is just a skosh smaller so that it will fold neatly together. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Now,
Got it.
good. Now check out what they're saying here. You've got caution, you've got trim, and you've got bleed. Caution really means your margins. Caution means that what you want to do is you want to make sure that you allow a little bit of space so that it doesn't get caught up by the trim. You do not want anything to get too close to the trim. The trim in this particular demonstration graphic is the purple line. That's where the piece is going to cut out of the larger paper that it's on. The bleed is that red line, and it extends any background color or images so that it will cleanly cut to the trim line. So all you got to, and remember that you have folds here. See these little dotted lines that run down here and here? Both of those are fold lines. Just like you have a caution over here on your trim, you should also have a cautionary area on either side of your fold. So don't run copy right up to your folds unless you intended to go from panel to panel deliberately. And then if you do, make sure that you do it in a way that makes sense. I mean, don't come to that line and just go like over to here. You know, really make it go over, or don't do it at all. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the outside. So front cover, back cover, and the inset fold panel. Now, I'm gonna let you look at this. I guess I don't show the back. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna end it because I got so many other things that I want to do tonight that I'm going to let you look at the rest of that. Most of the rest of that stuff is information regarding how you go about building your trifold brochure. So what I would do is definitely go in and take a look at it and see what information is in there. Again, as I say, if I had more time, I would go through the whole thing. But I got a couple of other things here that I want to show you that I kind of think are more important. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to come into my InDesign, and I'm going to show you my Aqua Excursions brochure. So the first thing that you'll notice here is it kind of looks pretty terrible, doesn't it?
Yeah, that.
Pretty it looks, especially the graphics.
Right.
Okay, so what's going on with that is if you go to the View menu and you come down and you go to Display Performance, you'll notice that it's on Typical Display, right?
Right.
You know about that?
Right. You have to go to high quality.
Right. So you click High Quality and boom, it renders it. Now, here's the thing that I want to show you first. If I just put my Aqua Excursions logo on my panel, because the colors are blue, they would disappear right into my background. But do you notice how I put this beautiful white breaker around the edge of my logo?
Mm-hmm.
I want to show you a neat little trick as to how to do something like this. Now, you may not use that right here, but it's a great exercise, and it shows you two things. It shows you how I created a single color gradient like that using Pantone color and process color, and also how to create that nice little white area of breakage so that your logo doesn't get lost in the background. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you is that. Oh, and by the way, there's the inside of the panel. So you see the folds here, and then of course you have your trim, and the same thing on this. If you come back to here, you've got your folds and your trim, and you'll notice that this actually has a bleed on it. You can see that it's going beyond. So everything's bleeding, doing exactly what it's doing. We're going to come back to this, okay? Because what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about the template, and then we're going to talk a little bit about this. But I just wanted to quickly show you this because I wanted you to see that logo. There's a reason I'm showing you this, all right? And we're going to deal with that first. So I'm going to go into Illustrator. I also sent you, oh, and by the way, I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to go to my swatches panel, and I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to make that all the way blue, okay? So now I have blue. That color looks funny. Why is that color funny? Because it's a different color. Okay, so now we're all set. This is blue, and that's my blue. Remember I picked those colors last week? You saw me do this last week?
Right.
Those are my Pantone colors?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those are the first thing that we're going to deal with. But what I wanted to show you is I have an idea for a really cool trick for this aqua. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. Before I do this, though, I want to point out a very important thing. This is sort of the logo from last week. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to deal with logos like this. So I have this logo, and this logo is Pantone P107-2C for coded. And this is Pantone 1087C for coded. So those are the ones that I want to use whenever I need a two-color logo along with something like black. So if it's going to just be a Pantone process job, I must have this version of my logo. So do you understand that?
Yes.
And my colors have to be Pantone spot colors. And those little dots there tell me that's what they are, right? You remember me saying that?
Right.
Okay. And if you remember when I brought that logo into InDesign, those colors came along with me, didn't they?
Right.
Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go in here and we're going to go File, Save As. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to call this Aqua Logo Brochure. I'm going to drop all that off, and I'm going to call this Aqua Logo, and I'm going to call this Pantone, P-A-N-T-O-N-E, and then hit Save. And right now I'm just saving it to my desktop, okay? And I'm just going to leave this the way it is and hit OK. So what I did essentially was I saved this as Aqua Logo Pantone. This is going to be my Aqua Logo Pantone version of this logo. So whenever I need to generate another file, I will have my original Aqua Logo Pantone.ai file to go back to. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to come back in and I'm going to change this one to Process. Process. So it's Aqua Logo Process. I'm going to hit Save. Okay, now why am I doing this? The reason that I'm doing this is if I were to use this logo as in a four-color process job, the printer would see those colors and he would think that on top of the four-color process job, I want that blue and I want that other blue as a Pantone color. So suddenly a four-color process job would become a six-color job. Do you understand that?
No.
Those two colors are Pantone colors.
Okay.
The printer will see that as how do you print a Pantone color? It was in your assessment. Remember? How do you print a Pantone color? On its own plate, right?
Okay.
Okay. So CMYK, when you print a CMYK job, you're going to create four plates: a cyan, a magenta, a yellow, and a black.
Okay.
Two colors are Pantone colors. They want their own plates. So that means not only are you going to print CMYK, but if you use these colors this way, you also have to include those two colors on separate plates because they're Pantone colors. They print on their own plate, right?
Okay.
You got it?
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Okay. So, but there's a solution. We're going to convert them to process. And to do that, you just double click on it. And notice that the color type is right here. See it? Right now it says spot color, doesn't it?
Yes.
But if you click the drop down, see what it says? Process color. See what I did? I just switched it from spot color to process color. Real simple. And now watch when I hit OK. I want you to watch what happened to the color right there. What happened to the color?
It took the dot off.
Ah, bingo. So basically, that's a little signal telling you that this color is no longer a spot color. That little dot in the corner is the symbol for a spot color. So what I've done is I've changed this into a process color. What that means now is that process color does not need its own plate. It can be used right in the 4-color process environment, just the way it is. Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense to you? Do you have any questions about it?
Nope, I got it.
Great. So we got to do the same thing to the other color. Double click on it. Come in here to color type. And in this case, we're going to call this a process color as well. Hit OK. It is now still Pantone P108-7C, but it is no longer a spot color. So that is why if you look up here, aqua underscore logo underscore process, what I did was I took the same logo and I just converted, I created 2 versions of it.
Right.
One is my Pantone version and one is my process version. I save those logos, and whenever somebody needs me to generate a file from the process version, I go to that process version and I open it and I create the file that they want, size it, do whatever I got to do with it. If they need one that's a Pantone, I go to the other one that's Aqua Logo Pantone, open that, do whatever I got to do with it, and send it to them. So I end up with 2 versions of the same logo, one in process, one in Pantone. Makes perfect sense. So now I've got everything covered, okay?
Yep.
All right. So what we're going to do now is have a little fun. I need my layers panel, I think. Let me see here. Yeah, there we go. My layers panel. Let me bring my layers panel out. I'm going to move the swatches down a little bit. Okay. I actually created this layer with black on it back here. Okay. The reason I created this lower layer with black on it, this is not going to print in the end. It's going to go away in the end. But what I want to do is I want to demonstrate 2 things. This aqua is a little bit boring to me. And I wanted to show you how to do something pretty cool using the same color in a gradient, so that this is something that you can do very easily and create a really neat looking aqua if you want to do this. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the window menu and I'm going to open up gradient, and I got my gradient panel open. And what I'm going to do is I got my stops down here. All right? So I'm going to select the aqua first, and I'm going to click to apply a gradient to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this lighter Pantone color, and I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to drag it down and drop it on my left-hand stop. See it? So it's now going from gradient to white. Okay?
Can you do that? I'm sorry. Can you do that process one more time?
Well, I'm going to do it one more time because I'm going to put it over here too. Watch.
Okay.
I click, hold, and drag it right onto the stop. And now look, it doesn't look like a gradient, does it?
No.
Okay, that's the trick. So watch this now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the opacity, and I'm going to use my opacity slider on that gradient stop right there. And I'm going to drop the opacity down to, I don't know, 40%. And see how the gradient has gotten lighter over there, and you see it's gotten transparent over here?
Okay.
That's what happens when I change this to 90 degrees. There we go. Now, I'm actually still seeing a little bit too much of the gradient at the bottom. So maybe what I'll do is click on the stop and bring it down to 20%. There, that's better. Can you see what's happening? Can you see how, let me deselect it and you'll see a little bit better. I could probably still go a little bit lighter, as a matter of fact. Let's bring it down to 10%. There. That's what I want. Can you see what's happening down here? Can you see how it's becoming transparent and you're able to see the black through this
Yes.
if I click to hide that layer, the black layer, look at what it looks like.
Okay.
Okay? So actually it's a little bit too light there. So what I'm going to do is at this point bring it up to like 30%. I got to select it first. Bring it up to 30%. Let's try that. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so you get the idea. Do you see what's happening? I might adjust this slightly. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so here's what I did, just so that you understand this. I used the same color, and I created a gradient, and I did it by using transparency. I put the color over here, and I put the color over here. And then I clicked on the color. I changed the direction to 90 degrees, which made the direction of the gradient go from top to bottom, right?
Okay.
And then what I did was, with this one selected, I went to opacity. Now, if I go to opacity again, if I click on 100%, I got to select the object. If I click on 100%, the whole thing goes solid blue, right?
Okay.
Right. So I want this thing to go from dark to light, and I want it to do it in the same color. So what I'm going to do is come down here, click on this, and go to, say, 30. And there I have my nice looking gradient that goes from dark to light, and it's the same color. Pretty cool effect. What do you think?
Yep.
Okay.
It sure is.
All right. Now the problem with this is, let's go back and put the black in there. The problem with this is that this is a certain level of transparency down here. So what's going to happen is two things. Number one, it's going to be partially transparent. And number two, those blues are going to interfere with the background of my picture. So there's one more trick that I want to do to this to make this work. And that is, I want to create a white outline around the entire graphic so that I can kind of use that white background as a breaker so that the image behind it doesn't interfere with it. Is that making sense, what I'm sort of explaining at this point?
Yes.
Good. All right. Well, let's give it a try and see how it works out. I'm going to minimize this, move these out of the way because I need to get another panel out. Let me get that out of the way, and that one out of the way, and even let me get that out of the way. I'm going to go select this first. I'm going to go up to the window menu, and I'm looking for appearance. The appearance palette is a palette that we have worked with before, and I want you to notice that I already have a fill registering in my appearance palette. Can you see that right there?
Yes.
That's my fill. It's already there. I also have a stroke. You see that? And there's no color on the stroke?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me explain what I'm about to do, and then I'll do it. What I'm about to do is I'm going to create a stroke. And then I'm going to use the appearance palette to change the arrangement of the stroke. I'm going to actually place the fill in front of the stroke. And I'm going to then pump up the stroke somewhat and make it so that it's nice and thick. Then I'm going to expand it. I'm going to do that to all three elements. Then I'm going to expand it. And by doing that, I will create a white background. So does that kind of make sense to you?
It makes sense as you do it. Go ahead.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. You got it. Okay, so let's start off by just clicking on the stroke layer, and let's put a color on it. And of course, the color is going to be white. And there we go. Notice already that I have my, I'm going to move this up out of the way. Notice that I already have my white going on here. And I'm going to start bringing this up. Notice what's happening, though. You see how it's destroying the look of the letter itself? It's actually destroying it.
Yes.
Okay, that's where the arrangement of layers come into play. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to take the fill and click it and drag it up so that it is above the stroke. Now it looks a little bit better, although there's still some craziness going on in the background. This does look better, okay? There's a couple of other things that I'm going to want to do with this. So I'm going to go to the window menu, and I'm going to open up the stroke palette. Where are we at here? Let's see. Stroke palette. There we go. The stroke palette. And what I want to do with this is I have problems with my caps and my corners. you can see them. See right there? You see how that thing kind of cuts off funny?
Right.
Right. So I'm going to fix that by changing the corner to a, there we go. And I'm going to also do that. And now it looks quite a bit nicer. Okay? Yeah.
So which one did you use for on the cap?
I use the corner. I use that, the round corner. See, there's a square corner. Square corner looks pretty good too, but it does give me that funniness in here. And I can't get rid of that without adjusting that. So I'm going to actually go with that so I get a slightly rounder look, which is okay by me.
Okay.
All right? You good?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know whether 3 is going to be the final size that I want, but I'm going to let it go for the moment. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to click on that graphic right here. And I'm going to go Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. And I've brought it now in front of that logo right there. So this is in front. And notice I got the same thing going on here. I have a fill and I have a stroke. So what I'm going to want to do first is I'm going to want to drag the fill up in front of the stroke. And I'm going to do the same thing to my stroke. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to change the color to white. And then I'm going to bring it up to try 3. And that's probably okay. Yeah, and then what I'm going to do is change the caps on it. Okay, and I got something that looks pretty good. See it? See already what's starting to happen? I'm getting that little divider there of white to separate the graphics from the background. That's what I'm looking for. And I will deal with this logo thing in a minute. But right now, all I'm trying to do is to break my logo from the background. Is that making sense at all?
Right. You talking about the background that's actually on the brochure?
Yeah, in this case, the
Right.
background is the substitute for the background in this little
the black.
demonstration is the black. But
Right.
just imagine it as the picture. That's
Right.
the whole idea. This is not, there are many other things that you could do. This is just one little technique that I think is incredibly valuable, and it's relatively easy to do. And it gives me the opportunity to show you a little bit about strokes, weights, the caps, the corners. It also gives me the ability to demonstrate a little bit about the appearance palette. Both of these palettes and what they can do are extremely helpful. So it gives me a good opportunity to do some things for you. So now I'm going to click on the excursions, and I'm going to go Object, Arrange, Bring to Front, and make sure that's all the way in the front. And I see that I have no fill or no stroke on this. So the first thing that I'm going to do is come up here, and I'm going to go Add New Fill. And I get a new fill and a new stroke, and of course it makes it black, which is not what I want. What I want is that color right there. So basically now we're okay. We're where we want to be, correct?
Okay.
You saw how I did that? If that happens, you saw what I did? I just basically put a fill or a stroke in there, and I now have a stroke and a fill. And then I changed the fill whatever color it was, unless it was correct. It wasn't. I changed it to the color that I want.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to drag this fill up above the stroke. And now that I have my stroke down here, I'm going to select it, and I'm going to make it white again. And this time I'm going to go 2, 3. Okay? So now take a look. I have this, and I have that, and I have that. My strokes are there. My fills are there. I got everything I need to create the logo effect that I want. Okay? Are you with me so far? Any questions about what I did here?
Nope.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay, excellent. So here's the next step. The next step is I'm going to come over to my layers panel, and I'm going to lock my background layer so I can't really select my layer. I don't want to be able to select my background layer, that black area. All right, then what I want to do is I want to drag to marquee all of those together. Here's the deal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this. When I expand it, what's going to happen is all of those white areas are going to turn into objects, and I'm going to have the fill areas objects as well. Right now, they are still strokes and fills, and they are still attached to one another. I want to separate them. By expanding them, I will do that. Does that make sense?
And you said that by expanding them, You're doing what again?
Okay, so this aqua has a fill on it and a stroke. But no matter how you look at it, it's still just an object that has a fill and a stroke on it.
Okay.
Expanding it, I'm going to change that stroke into an object.
Okay, I got it.
I could keep that as another object, so they're separate. Then I can do different things to them.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the object menu, and I'm going to expand appearance. And let's see if I got it. Don't think I did. Hold on. Object, path, outline stroke. There we go. Outline stroke. So now basically I had it selected, and I went object, path, outline stroke.
So it's not object expanding appearance.
Yeah, no, I can expand it now if I want. Okay, but I've already got them. I already got them separated. That's the important thing. They are grouped. They are grouped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go object, ungroup, and now watch. I can click on that, and I can go object, hide, selection, and I can click on that and go object, hide, selection, and I can click on that and go object, hide, selection, and now I have those objects right there. Okay, and what I can do is I can actually come in here now and I can modify this a little bit. Like I think I can do this. Delete, delete. Yup, look at that. Watch what I'm about to do here. Delete. I'm using the direct selection tool. Watch. I'll get the tool out so you can see what I'm doing. I'm actually taking part of this, the fill part of this, and I'm deleting it so that I end up with a white background, which is what I'm really looking for. Delete, delete. See what I'm doing? And I even can come in here if I want and do that. Delete, delete. See that? Cool, huh? Delete. Watch this. Delete, delete. There I have it. I got one more to do right here. Delete, delete. There you go. There's a little spot right there. Okay, so here's the next thing. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of this, okay? And I'm going to go to the window menu, and I'm going to get my Pathfinder, and I'm going to combine all these together to make one piece. Watch. Boom. See that? One piece. Isn't that great?
That's cool.
Now, watch this. Object, show all, and object, arrange, bring to front. There you go. Look at that.
Wow.
Isn't that slick?
Yeah, that is.
Okay, so do you understand what I did? Do you understand what that is all about, what I just did there?
What I need to know is when you first started it and you did object, path, outline, and then what did you do?
Object, path, outline, stroke.
Stroke. Okay.
And then after I did that, I ungrouped it. Object, ungroup. And as a matter of fact, you know, you can go back and watch this part of the recorded session and see me do it again. But I ungrouped it. Then I hid the aqua, I hid that little graphic, and I hid the excursions. And then I selected the center parts, the black areas, the remainder black areas with the direct selection tool. Or you could have even done it, I think, with the group selection tool. And I deleted them. So that left me with just nice white areas, which I selected all of them, and I went into Pathfinder, and I turned them into one unique piece, one solid piece. Now I have a logo, the Aqua Excursions logo, that has this nice little white break area around it, so that when I put it against a black background, it looks like this, or if I put it against a picture, it'll look like this, and you'll be able to read that logo a lot better. That's the whole point.
Okay.
Are you good with it? Any questions?
Yeah, I'm just going to have to go back to it like you said.
Okay. All right. I definitely think you should go back to it and take a look at it and watch it and at least try to do it, because if you don't use it for this logo, and you don't absolutely have to use it for this logo, it is still a tremendously greatly valuable technique that I think you should learn how to do, because it does give you the ability to understand a little more about the Pathfinder, a little more about stroking, and also a good bit about appearance. And I want to tell you something I want you to know about appearance. This is a great palette. You can do incredible stuff with it. All right?
Okay.
All right. So here's the last part of this part of my demonstration, and then we can move on into InDesign and we can start talking about that. Just like last week, what you're going to want to do is, let me first minimize these windows, get these things out of the way so I have some room to work. Get them over here, close them up, move them over. We're kind of done with these for the moment again. Okay, so there, get them out of the way. There we go. Okay, view, fit artboard in window. There we go. Okay, so now we have this piece of art, and it is essentially the way I want it to be. This is not the way I would use this. I would probably do the same thing. Remember, it says Aqua Logo Process here. See it? You there, buddy?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, I see it.
What I would do with this, since this is different than the Aqua Logo process, this is Aqua Logo outline. So what I would do is I would go File, Save As.
Outline, yeah.
Right. Process _ OUTLINE. Process _ outline. Save. So now, whenever I needed to work with the logo this way, oh, and by the way, in my layers palette, what I would now do is I would hide that layer. Okay, now the trick about this is you're not going to be able to see this outline anymore because it's a white background. But don't let that bother you. We're cool. You know it's there. I know it's there. The last thing that I want to do here now is I want to come in here and I want to go to my artboard and I want to click on artboard options. And what I want to do is I want to come to the presets and drop it down, and I want to fit to artwork. Right? Remember we did it last week? Why am I doing this?
To get rid of the white space around.
Yeah, that's right. Hit OK. Excellent. And there it, well, it didn't really do it, did it? It didn't really do it. Oh, you know why? I know why. Because on my layer, hold on a minute, let me fix that. I know why it did that. It did that because, where's my layers? There we go. Because of that layer right there. Hit delete. Yep. Because of the black layer, I have black there.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I fooled myself. Watch, I'll fix it now. Watch this. Come in here. Where's my artboards? Here we go. Nope. Where's my artboards? Did I close it? I guess I did. No, it's over here. Okay, here we go. Artboard options. Let's try it again. Okay, custom. We're going to change it to fit to artboard. There you go. Okay, that's what it was. I had accidentally left the black one. Okay, so there you go. So what it's doing now is it is fitting it right to the white edge all around this. That's the first thing that you want to do. Then you can go File, Save, because this is how you're going to actually use it. And that's done. Now, the last thing that you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to prep this to go into InDesign. Okay?
All right. Go ahead.
You're going to want to go into InDesign with this. So what you're going to do is you're going to go File, Save As, Copy. And then you're going to open this up and you're going to find EPS, Encapsulated Postscript. And click on that. And you can get rid of it. Doesn't have to say copy. See where it says copy there? You can actually delete that. So it just says Aqua Logo Process Outline EPS. I know that's a very long name. You can rename it if you want. I'm not going to bother because I don't want to fool us. I want to make this simple. So I'm going to leave it that way. The important thing is I'm saving it on my desktop, Aqua Logo Process Outline EPS, and it's an Illustrator EPS. Okay? Right?
Right, got it.
It's safe. The important thing is I'm going to stay CS6 because that's what I'm working with. TIFF 8-bit color, make sure transparency is selected. That's the important thing. Okay? Resolution, we want to have complex art, high resolution. High resolution. Okay? We can come in here and go custom, but high resolution will be fine. And then the rest of this stuff, there's no fonts. You don't have to worry about it. You can leave it just the way it is. But these are no longer fonts. These are graphic shapes, right? Remember I had them selected? Remember?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So all this stuff you can just leave the way it is and hit OK. And there it is. It's right in the EPS. And in a minute, it'll be done. Boom, done. Okay? So that is the Adobe Illustrator part of the exercise for tonight. And again, the thing to take away from this is that, number one, first and foremost, what you want to be able to do with this is you want to remember to convert these colors, since this is, your colors will be from last week's assignment, or if you use the logo that I supplied you with, they'll be those colors, which I don't care if you use mine or if you use your own. It's up to you. But remember that last week when we did the aqua logo, we should have turned these into spot colors, right? Pantone colors, right?
Right.
Okay, so you've got to remember to convert them, and to just do this to convert them. Double click on the color and change it there. Color type from spot to process, and do it to both. Hit cancel. Do it to both the colors. And then when they come up, these no longer have the spots in them. And the reason that we're doing this, why, Benita?
Oh, okay. The reason you're doing it is so the printer will know that you are using CMYK and that you don't, and it can use the same press. Okay, wait. I'm getting mixed up, but I know what I'm talking about.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're on it. Basically, the printer doesn't have to use additional plates.
Right, because if not, it would use.
You're right. It's all part of the CMYK process.
Right. Okay.
Very good. No, you're right. Okay, so does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's get out of here, and let's go now back to, let me do this real quick. All right, so I'm just going to quickly show you this. What I did was I sent you the copy. This is all the copy that I used on my Aqua excursion brochure. I also sent you a PDF, correct?
I believe so.
PDF right here. Let me open it and show it to you. I sent you this PDF. Did you get this PDF?
I believe I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I did.
The only reason I sent you this PDF was so that you had a visual reference of what I did. You don't have to do this. You can do your own thing. But I gave you a visual reference of what I did in the hopes that it would make it a little easier for you when you go to do it. Okay? And I also want you to notice out here that I have my folds showing. I also have my printer's marks showing, my registration marks. See those little marks right there? Mm-hmm. Those are my registration marks. Those the printer needs in order to separate and to reassemble the 4-color process printing job, which is what this is. So your final piece, when you send it to me, should look like this. And before the night is over, I am going to show you how I produced this PDF so that you can send it to me this way. Good?
Good.
All right, excellent. Close that out. And again, you can use this copy. How I use this copy is I just come in here and I copy, edit copy, and I paste it in, or I go file place, however, with a select. I basically copy and paste it into InDesign. You'll see me do that as well. Okay?
Can we use our own fonts if we want to? Do we have to use?
Yeah, no, you don't. I don't want you to use these fonts. These are just this is just a copy. You don't even have to use this text if you want. You can come up with your own text. I just thought it would be easier for you because I gave you some text that you can actually use. Whenever you create a brochure like this, you don't normally write your own text. Usually there's a copywriter that writes the text. And they usually give you a document file very similar to this. And some of them even have some specifications. What this means is this is the outside front cover copy. You'll see me use this in a minute. It's 28-point Myriad Pro Bold. That's a note to myself telling me I want the font size to be 28 points. And the font that I want to use is Myriad Pro Bold. That's really what that is. And they're notes to myself. So you can either use those notes if you can figure them out, or you can do your own thing with it. I don't really want to force you to do my job. I want you to do your own job. You can copy me if you want, or you can do your own thing entirely. What's really important, number one, is that you're creative. Number two, that you do it correctly. And number three, your final submission is correct for the printer. So what my focus is tonight is to make sure that you see a little bit of how I put together my brochure, but that you're prepared to be able to submit something to your printer that the printer can use. That's my first and foremost
Okay.
what I'm most concerned with. Okay, so you did get a version of this along with the other stuff. You can use it as you choose. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's go back to here, and there's my logo. Okay, so you kind of get the understanding of why I did that. If I put that aqua with that blue and that excursion without that white break area, if I put that up in that area right there, it would not look really good. You would not be able to read that text because it's too close to those blues. This way, it jumps right out at you. And it also jumps out at you right over here. So it is something that makes sense to do. That's why I did it. Okay?
Okay.
All right. This is, I didn't submit this to you. Hold on a minute. Let me get that up there. Okay. I did not send you this, but I did send you this. So let's talk about this for a minute. Okay. This is a template. This template is from your printer. Okay. You will be hopefully using a printer template so that you don't actually have to build your own. I built this, and it's more or less okay. You know what I mean? It does its job. And let me explain to you what we have here. See that purple line right there? The purple line is my margin area. I want to be careful going beyond that purple line. I don't want to get too close to that black line. That black line represents where the actual piece is going to trim out of the larger piece of paper, the larger stock, right?
Okay.
Okay. That red line indicates bleed. And if you notice, I got bleed going all the way around it. So I have the opportunity to bleed all the way around this, and I am going to use it. I want to bleed things all the way around this because I want something with a lot of pizzazz. And I personally think that, you know, bleeds give pizzazz. So I have bleeds in there. Now, this blue line that you see there is what's known as a slug line. A slug line is an area that will enable me to put things like crop marks, which is there, and fold marks, which are there. Okay? And there is my call out for the fold so that the printer knows that that's a fold. They will know because those dashed lines, they know. And that line there is my crop line. And this also I've put in here to show you that this is the outside spread and that's the inside spread. The reason I did that is because if you remember what I told you from the beginning, the front panel, which is here, the back panel, which is here, are the same size. Both of these panels are the same size. This panel, which is the inset fold panel, is slightly smaller. So on the outside, you have to know that the front cover is over on your right. The back of the cover or the back of the brochure is in the middle. And the inset folder is the panel on the left. On the inside, you work from left to right. So this is panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, just like you would read columns of text. The outside is the one that you have to think about because it's laid out differently. Right panel is what, Benita?
Oh, that's the cover.
Right. What's the middle panel?
That's the back.
Right. So this is the inset panel, the panel that folds in. So the first and foremost thing you're going to see when you look at this is here. And if you, before you even open it, if you flip it over, this is the next thing you're going to see. If you don't flip it over, if you just turn that panel over, or if you flip it out, then you're going to see this next. That's your inset panel because it folds in. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, once you get these things folded and it's laid out more or less flat, then you're going to see that. Okay, so that's basically how that works. All right, any questions?
No, no questions.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to, let's go to the swatches panel first. All right, so I got my swatches panel over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this and I'm going to delete that color. I'm going to delete that color. And the reason I'm deleting those colors is because I created those colors and I want to have no color in there so I can show you how I can create color on the fly. The important thing for you to understand is when you're working with 4-color process, you don't have to go to a lot of trouble to get color. You can actually steal color from images, which makes it really great. So one of the things that I'm actually going to do is I'm going to steal a couple of images or steal a couple of colors from my images. Okay? I'll show you how to do that. All right? So the first thing that I'm going to do is I know that my front cover is going to get a big picture. It's going to be a 3-way bleed. See the fold right there? The artwork is going to stop on that fold. It's not going to extend onto the back. I'm going to use a panel of solid color from this point over to that point over there. On the front cover, I'm going to have a 1, 2, 3-way bleed, and I'm going to trap it to that fold. So what I do to do that is I come over here and I grab my rectangle frame tool and I come up to the fold line and I make sure that I'm on the red line, which is my bleed line. So I'm on the fold, the corner of the fold and the bleed line. I'm going to click, hold, and I'm going to drag my box all the way down and all the way out until I hit my bleed lines. And I've created a box. See it? Yeah. Right on the fold. It's bleeding. It's bleeding. It's bleeding. Okay? Good? Did I lose you?
No, no, no. I just had muted it because some company came in the house. But go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going to go File, Place. And now I'm going to have to find my image. And I'm going to go up. And I'm going to go up again. I got to go to my desktop. And I'm going to come into, I got to find my images. I actually forgot to set this up. So I'm going to find my images. Give me a second. I'm in print production in color, week 3, I believe. Here we go. Links? Nope. Let me see here. Aqua exercise. Here we go. Links. Nope. Let me see. Where are we at here? Images. Here we go. All right, here we go. So I got my diver 1. I think this might be right. Let me see what it is. Diver 1. All right, hit open. There we go. There's my diver 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my direct selection tool, click on it, and I can see that it is huge. See how big the file is? It's huge. See it? See that brown line?
Yes, I see it.
That's the image. It's huge. So what I'm going to want to do with this is I'm going to zoom this out, and I'm going to click, hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to start dragging that up until I get to about there. And now I've got it fitting vertically. So there is a diver in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move this across until I find my diver. There is my diver. So I'm going to bring my diver over to here. And there's my diver. He's awful low, though. What's the deal with this? Let me see. I think what I'm going to have to do is bring him up a little bit. And I'm going to have to increase his size somewhat. Yeah, and then I'm going to have to move him over a little bit. Oh, you know what the problem is? I know what the problem. No, that's right. I got it. That's it. So I'm bringing him over here, and I got my diver. Now I'm going to go View, Fit Artboard and Window. Fit Page and Window. There we go. So there's my diver. He's actually pretty low. Let me check my original, my final. Yeah, he's actually a little higher. So I think I might have used the wrong diver. But I don't think it's going to matter for this demonstration. I think it'll be fine. There's my diver. I had another image of him. Let me see if I can quickly find it.
So how come when you first put that picture in, you just didn't do fit to frame?
Pardon me?
How come when you first placed this picture, you didn't click hit to proportionally?
Well, if I do that, watch what happens. Let me click on it. Let me do that. Object fitting, fit content proportionately. See? That's what happens. And that's no good.
But you couldn't have fit it to frame, the frame that you made?
Object fitting. If I fit it to frame, fit content to frame, it distorts it.
Oh.
So that's no good. So I don't want to do that. I actually want to delete that image. Let me see if I can try to find the other image. Let me try it one more time. I think I actually deleted the frame as well. No, I didn't. File, place. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find my other. I'm pretty sure I'm in the wrong folder actually. Let's see here. Print one, yeah, week 3. And links, let's see what we got here. That might be the same file. I don't know, let's try it. Boom. Yeah, it is. Edit, do replace, file, place. Let me a second. Go up. Let me go to Scuba Blue Final Brochure. Nope. Images. See if it's in here. All right, Diver 1. Is it that? There we go. Hit open. Let's see if that's better. And click. There you go. Nope, same thing. All right, well, anyway, I'm going to select that, and I'm going to get the direct selection tool once again. View, zoom out. And, oh boy, view, zoom out. There we go. That's really big. And let me just click on that and drag it up. That's probably good right there. And shift and drag it over. Now I got my diver. He's a little bit low in there, so forgive me for that. I don't know. There's another image that I have that I'm not finding, so this will be okay. At least he's on our screen. So there is my first. There is my first graphic. So what it is doing essentially is it's trapping to the fold, and it is bleeding, bleeding, and bleeding. So I got a 3-way bleed and a trap to that line right there. Okay, so does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly throw a color blue on the other 2 panels. To do that, again, I'm going to come in here and grab my rectangle frame tool, and I'm going to come over this time to the upper left-hand corner on the bleed area, and I'm going to drag a box that comes down to the outside bleed at the bottom and bring it right over to where it is butting up against that same area of the fold where I've butted that front picture to. Okay? Got it? There's my box. So the 2 panels are completely covered with that box. All right?
Okay.
All right. Now what I want to do is I want to put a color in there. Now I don't know exactly what color, so I'm going to get my eyedropper tool and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to sample in here somewhere. And I'm thinking maybe something about like that. And you see what it did? It just basically put that color right in there. Look at that. See that?
Yep, that's cool.
Yep. Now if I want, I can click on it and I can come over here and I can try another color. That's a nice color too. Maybe I want something more like, I don't know, maybe I want something more like that color. Don't like it. Don't think it's right. Or let's try one more time. I'm going to bring it back into the colors that I think I want. I think I want something a little more like that. Yeah, that's actually real good. That'll work. So there's my color. That's my background for this. If you take a look at my template, my final, I'm sorry. See how it's very similar? Except this picture's better, and I don't know where that picture is. I have to really find it. You can see he's up higher though. And all right, so let's go back to my template. And the next thing that I want to do is I want to bring my color in here. Let's see. New color swatch. And it's that color right there as process CMYK. See it? That's the color that I have right there and the color that I'm using. So I'm putting a new swatch in, and it is process color CMYK. Okay? Got it?
Got it.
Okay. Boom. There it is. So now that is the color that I created from within here. And I could create as many colors as I want. If I want to create another color, you know, I could go in there and create another color by just clicking on it, you know. And let's see if I can do one more just for the heck of it. Let's make a darker blue. And let's go up here and new color swatch. And this is, again, process CMYK. There's your dark blue. And hit add. And I can do more if I want, or hit done. So if you remember when I started, I had 2 down here that I threw away. Well, now there are 2 more of them. Notice that these are all CMYK color. See those little symbols right there? Those symbols tell you that they are CMYK color, which means essentially that the printer is going to make those colors up from the 4-color process. So you don't have anything on here that's going to cause any trouble. And you have your artwork catching that fold, and you have that artwork passing from panel to panel and catching on that fold. So you're in really good shape. You got bleeds all around here. You're in really good shape. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to fix that. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to place my logo graphic up here. So I'm going to go File, Place, and on my desktop, I'm going to find my EPS that I made. There it is. See it? Aqua Logo Process Outline. Correct? Remember, that's what I did?
Yep.
Click on it. There's the logo. Hit Open. And come up here, and there it is. It actually, Control Z. There we go. And now I can click on this thing, right like that, and it places it. And I can, since it's an EPS, I can drag it out to make it a little bit bigger. And I can go Object Fitting, Fit Content Proportionately. And there is my logo. If I want to make it a little bit bigger, I can do that. Again, click on it. Object Fitting, Fit Content Proportionately. And there is my logo. And if you remember what I said, let's zoom in and take a bit of a closer look at it. There it is. Go to the View menu, Display Performance, High Quality Display, and there it is. There's the logo. See how beautiful that looks against that blue background? It stands out. It's dynamic. It's powerful, and it makes a great presentation. So I'm going to fit Page and Window, and there's my front cover. The only thing that I need to do on my front cover is I need to place my line of text. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to here, and the brochure outside copy is Aqua Excursions Dive Adventures. So I'm going to click on this, and I actually did this already. Going to edit copy, and then I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to click. Actually, what I really want to do is I want to get a little box rectangle frame tool. I'm going to click and drag this out and edit paste. Boom. There we go. It actually moved the box over, but that's all right. And then what I'm going to do is move it back in here, and I'm going to adjust the size of the box, and I'm going to select the text. Let me get the text selected if I can. I got to Control A. There we go. And what I can do is I can just come up here and format it in the properties bar, right? We got properties bar. Remember the properties bar? And if you remember what my specifications are, 28 point, Myriad Pro Bold. So what I'm going to do first is, this is Minion. It's not what I want. come up here and I'm going to find Myriad. Let's go through my library of color until I get down to Myriad. Myriad, where are you? Myriad Pro, there we go. And now it's Myriad Pro, it changes, and I want Myriad Pro Bold. And what I say, 48? I have a bad memory, 28, okay? 28, drop this down and choose 28. 24, I can't get 28, so I'm gonna come in here and change it. 28. And there I have it. And it's actually giving me some bad breaks on this. So there we go. That's a little bit better. Now, the only thing that I want to do with this is I want to make sure that it's white because I don't want it to be black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose paper. Paper is essentially white in InDesign. You know that, right?
Yes.
Did they tell you that that paper is actually white? That's what white means. It means paper.
Well, no one told me that, but I was just thinking that just meant that no color would go in that section.
Yeah,
Paper was
white. It's actually paper. Now, the other thing that I don't like about this is I don't like the space between the letters. So what I can do is I can come in here and I can actually adjust the leading. It doesn't seem to be adjusting it, and it's not changing the color either. Oh, you know what? I got to change the color. Paper. There we go. There it is. And now I'm going to select this again, and let's go. Not changing. It actually, I think it did. I think it did. Let's try it again. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be going down. I don't know what's going on with this. Maybe I know what it is. I know what it is. Hold on. I know what it is. Enter. All right, let me see. I think the reason that this isn't moving is because it's in one line. So what I have to do is I have to put in another line. There we go. That's why it wasn't doing that. It was one.
Oh, okay.
So now that I have it in two lines, what I can do is select it, and I can come in here and I can change the leading. And I think my leading will probably be about 24. I'm still not doing it. Boy, it's really being a pain in the butt today. All right, well, at any rate, I'm not going to spend the whole night trying to figure out why this is doing this. There's my headline. Let's move it over. And now I have my front cover done.
Question: If the pink line is the margin, how come? Can you bring that up? If the pink line is the margin, how come we have the words and the logo like lined up right on it? So that means the words don't have to stay in between that pink line.
No, as long as see how much space there is there.
Right.
Okay. The important thing is, watch this. I'm going to take that. The important thing is to not have your text here.
Right.
You don't want your text to be that close to the black line. You have that much space to play with.
Okay.
So what I generally do is visually divide the space, because you don't want the same thing here. You don't want to have your text all the way up like that.
Right.
You want it somewhere in the middle. So find a spot visually in the middle. And what you can also do here is you can click on both of these elements together, and you can hit the vertical align center. And what they'll do is they'll vertically align both of them. And then you can kind of together look to see whether you want to tweak it that way a bit or whatever, or whether you want it to go up. I would bring it up a little bit, but that actually looks pretty good to me. Okay. And there is basically your front cover. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And then of course you're going to go File, Save As, and we're going to call this my bill. You're going to put your name on it. So it's going to be Bill, or BSWEENEY. How's that? B Sweeney. And then you're going to change it from template to underscore brochure, trifold. And that would be fine. B. Sweeney trifold in design and hit save. All right?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to move to the inset folder. Let's take a look at the inset folder for a second. I got this great little turtle here. And the turtle is a partially transparent graphic. What's nice about that is it kind of throws the color that's underneath it through a little bit, and it gives the illusion that the turtle is in the actual background, which is actually the water. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I added the turtle to this. Then I'm going to put some text out here for you. Okay? So let's jump back over to here. And once again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and I'm going to drag out a box about like that. And I'm going to go File, Place, and I'm going to look for my turtle. Let's go back into print production. And let me go to week 3. Let's see if I can figure out where this is. And let's go to final brochure. Again, I should have. All right, images. And where we got the turtle. Let's find the turtle. And the turtle is
Right there.
right there. Click on the turtle, hit open. Boom. And the turtle comes in. And the turtle is gigantic, ginormous, huge. So again, I'm going to select this and I'm going to bring this thing down to a more reasonable size. I'm going to shift and I'm going to start dragging it down. And then I'm going to move them up into the frame. Okay, you can see he's getting smaller. Hold down shift to bring him down smaller. I'm almost in frame now. Getting close. Whoops.
Well,
Didn't want to do that. Let's fix it. Hold down the shift key. You got to make sure that you don't let go of the shift key until you get her where you want her. There we go. And now I can bring her in frame. And there's my turtle. Now all I got to do is move the turtle over. And if you remember my original, the turtle is slightly bleeding off. And I'd say probably, yeah, it's probably right about where he should be. But I can adjust this. Okay? So there's my turtle. I've placed my turtle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop text over top of him because he's partially transparent. You notice how by being partially transparent, and maybe the way to illustrate that he's partially transparent is to do this. Watch. I'm going to click on this panel, and I'm going to drag that color out from behind the turtle. Can you see that the turtle is partly transparent?
mm-hmm.
So he's not, and what that means is almost the same thing that this means up here. This originally was saved as an EPS file of a part. I took that turtle, and the turtle has no background. It's got like a transparent background to begin with. And I made the turtle in the same transparency palette, only in Photoshop. I used the same transparency to make that a transparent object. And then I saved it as what's known as a TIFF file, which is the Photoshop version of an EPS file. And that's how I got my transparent turtle. And then I dragged that background behind the turtle. And because the turtle is sitting on top of that blue, you're seeing blue come through there. If I created a box, let's create a little rectangular box and put it over here. And let's come in here and let's make this color green. That's good. Okay. And edit, cut. Watch this. Edit, paste, and back. Where are we at? Boy, object. Oh, you know what? Edit, paste. Here we go. All right. Okay. We can get it over here. Object, arrange, send backwards. There we go. You see how the green's showing through the turtle? Or the turtle actually is, you're seeing
Right.
green through the turtle?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the point. That is a partly transparent object. And by doing that, I can get a nice intermixing of the background color and that turtle so that he is there and he looks really good. But now I can drop stuff over top of him and it'll all blend in real good. So I got a front cover, which is a nice photo. I got a logo that looks really good placed on the front, and I have my text on the front. I've created a back panel and a side panel that have a beautiful color that coordinates with my front. And I've used another element here to dress up my panel. So far, so good, right?
Right. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
If you have a graphic that's not transparent, and if you wanted to make it be transparent, if you take it into Photoshop and you save it as an EPS, it'll do that?
No. What you'd have to do, literally, is you'd have to take the image and you'd have to go into Photoshop and you would have to make it transparent by using the transparent panel or the transparent commands in Photoshop, which I believe are in the layers.
Oh, yeah, and change the opacity?
Yeah, change the opacity to whatever you want the opacity to be, and then you would save it as a TIFF file, not as an EPS. You would save it as a TIFF file.
Okay.
And if you really want me to show you how to do that, I could probably very quickly show you how to do that.
Well,
Would that help you?
Well, that would be nice, but you don't. But I mean, I took down the notes. So.
Okay. You think you can handle it? If you have a problem, you can give me a call and I'll walk you through it.
Okay.
All right. So the only thing I want to do is I want to just quickly take this thing and I want to make sure that I got him right to the bleed. All right, because I want to make sure that, see how I got some of him cutting off here? I don't really care that the turtle cuts off a little bit. I mean, I got enough of them showing. It's like this diver. Notice that the diver's feet are cutting off over here? I don't really care about that because I think there's enough diver there to make this work. And I think it would look worse if I had this panel going over onto that panel. That would look bad. This looks pretty good. Just like this turtle, cutting him off a little bit like that doesn't hurt me one bit. Right?
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to place a few more bits of copy on this thing here. And then what I want to do is I'm going to switch over. And what I'll probably do is I'll probably do the rest of this panel. Let's go back and see what it looks like. So what I'll do is I'll show you more or less how I did this. And then I'll show you a little bit of this. And then I want to make sure that I have enough time to come in and show you how to save this as a PDF. I also want to show you how to package this because it's very important for you to understand how to package this as well. Okay? So there really is two very important things that I want to be able to do before I get done with this. All right? So let me go back to this and let me get my type tool this time, and let me click and drag a box out here. And I'm going to go to my Aqua Excursions copy. And I believe this is the fold over panel. Fold over panel. These two lines go in the fold over panel. So this is the first line. Get that. Copy. And Control V, paste it in. And then hit Enter. And then get the second line. Is it? Let me just quickly look. It is no. Okay, that's what I want. Find your own paradise. I already got it. That's good enough. Let's do this first. Okay, so there's my copy. And again, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to change this from Minion to Myriad. Let's go down and find Myriad again. Myriad Pro. Here we go. Let's see. Where are you? There we go. All right, and this is, again, I think it's bold. Yep, and I believe the size of it was, yeah, 3032. All right, so let's go 30. And 32. Okay. Now the problem is that this line, I need to open the box up a little bit. There we go. Okay? So there's my text, and the only thing I want to do with this is I want to select it, and I want to change its color to paper. And there you have my headline right there, and it should be pretty close. Yeah, pretty close. Close enough for our purposes. Okay? So you get the idea? Now, if you want, you can take this thing and you can move it over a little bit like that. All right? And we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to come over and I'm going to place another box over here. And I'm going to come down and I'm going to get that next line of text. Enjoy the aqua adventures. And copy. And Control V. Paste it in there. And it's the same deal. We're going to come up here. Actually, if I could keep this open, it'd probably be a good idea, but it's going to be a little difficult. And this is subhead 23, 23 over 32. And again, this is going to be Myriad Pro because I chose Myriad Pro for all of this because it had the most. And actually what I could do here if I really wanted to do this quicker is just type in MYRIAD and PRO. And then I just can switch it right over to bold. And 22, we're going to come up here and see if there's 22. There's not, there's 24. And I'll just adjust it from 24 back to 22. And what did I say that the height was? I think 22 over 32. Wow, I don't know why I made that much space, but let's see what it looks like. Let's follow it through. 32. And, whoops. Yeah, there we go. No. Geez, 32. Okay, and that should be it. And yeah, there we go. And then all I got to do with that again is make this white or paper. And then let's see, where does it get placed? I think that might not be in the right place. So what I'm going to do is come in here and find the right place for that, which is, oh, you know what? Actually, it isn't bad. It actually isn't too bad. It is pretty much where it should be. That's pretty close. I'd say maybe it wants to come up just a bit, and it might come over there. There you go. So I'd go File, Save at this point. And then the next thing that I want to do is I want to put in my, my points here. This is my next copy here. 14 over 16. These are going to be 3 bulleted points. Copy it. And actually, what I want to do here is go Object, Fitting, Fit Frame to Content. There we go. So I closed up that text box. Did you notice, Benita, that that text box was hanging way out there? Are you there?
Yeah, I noticed it. I'm sorry.
So I just basically wanted to get rid of that. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to drag out another box and I'm going to go Edit, Paste, and let's see, around the world. Let's see if this is already. I'm going to select it and I'm going to come up here to my, let's find my, where we go here. There we go, bulleted list. There we go. Okay, so there we have our bulleted list from now. We're starting out okay. Come in here, click on this, and make it, what did I have it as? I forget. I don't think it was bold. I think it was first line indent, left hand, 25. Bullets, semi. Okay, so semi-bold. Like a semi-bold. There we go, semi-bold. And it's Myriad Pro. Let's actually just change the first word. There you go, look at that. And now that is, whoops, it didn't take. Oh, it did, there you go. And then what I might do with this is come in here and I may actually open up the spacing after. There we go. There we go. That's probably pretty good. And that's probably good. And you know, I didn't get my, oh, you know what it is? I didn't change the color. That's what it is. Paper. Boom. Come on. There we go. All right. So now I have my bulleted points in there. And again, File, Save. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing that I would do with this is more or less done. The back, I would now build the back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the, I'm going to switch over and I'm going to do a little bit of work on the inside. All right. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm running out of time and I just want to show you a little bit about the inside. Okay. So basically the inside has 3 panels. If you want, you can come over here and you can drag guides out. See how I'm dragging guides out? And actually, there's the guide. After I did that, there's the guide. So can you see the guides, and you can see my text. And actually, I think maybe I want to move that copy over just a little bit, like that. That's probably a little bit better. So really, the key to this whole thing is when you design this thing, see, notice how I got the Aqua Excursion Dive Adventures, Find Your Own Paradise in the Exotic Islands, Enjoy Aqua Excursions Dive Adventures. See how I let it bleed over onto that panel?
Yep.
For a moment, while this thing is partially folded up, this is going to look a little bit clunky here. But the moment this panel, this third panel over here, gets laid out flat, this looks really good. So that's why I went to the trouble of doing it this way, because I knew very quickly this would start looking good. And then, of course, I just basically filled in the copy and added some photos, and I'm more or less done with this. So what I wanted to do very quickly was I just wanted to show you how I did the inside of this thing. So I started off first by taking and putting my inside graphic, which is going to bleed all the way around. It bleeds everywhere. Top, bottom, left, and right. Full bleed everywhere. Okay? So that's what I do first. I build a box that's going to bleed all the way around. Go File, Place. And I'm looking for Reef right there.
Yep.
See it?
Mm-hmm.
And hit Open. And there's my reef. And my reef, if you click on this with the direct selection tool, you can see that there's my reef. The reef probably, no, it actually works. It works out pretty good. See, it actually comes over here and it kind of dies out right about at that point. Now, if I wanted to, I could also come in here and I could try adding a color to this since it's transparent. What I could do is I could come in here and sample, say right about here, and see how that actually is too dark.
Mm-hmm.
So what I could do if I wanted to is click on this, and I could come in here and go, let's see, what to do with this. I really not going to do it. Let's go to, maybe I can do it by dragging this in. Let's see. There we go. But I'm not. RGB, LED. Yeah, it's not going to do it. Trying to get a lighter version of that color. I guess the only way that I could really do that is, because see what it's doing is it's essentially trying to grab the color that's there, and even though it is a Bendea, that color, the color is a dark color, so it's grabbing the dark color. So what I'd have to do is I'd have to see if I can make it transparent somewhere. So let's see, window, color. See, I haven't done this in a while. Color. Yeah, I can't really do it. It's not giving it. Window.
You know, I did something last week, and I'm not sure how I did it for real, but somehow a way I was messing with the gradient, and then I was able to move a line that, and it was like a line that it would just go
there's a gradient here, but the problem is it's going to put a gradient in there that it's not what I want. I don't want a gradient in there. What I wanted to do is I wanted to make this a lighter color, and it's just giving me some trouble doing that. Let's see here. New gradient swatch. Hey. Well, anyway, I'm gonna undo this now because it's just taking too much time to fool around with it. So basically, I have my overall background in place. That's more or less what the background is. Okay, and the next step for me is to bring in another graphic, which is my other diver. So I open up a box right about there, go File, Place, and I look for my diver, which is right there. See, and again, my diver is another transparent file. When I click on it, there's my diver. See how he's transparent?
Yep.
Okay, so what I can now do with my diver is I can play around with his size if I want. Make this a little bit bigger. Object, fitting, fit content proportionately, and see, he's got a large area around him. I didn't trim him out, So I really have a problem with him. I have to, if I want to make him bigger, I have to actually adjust him like that. And I got to be careful not to go too far with this because, see, he is a bitmap. And you can't really adjust bitmaps too much, but you can bring him up a little bit. There he is. And then what I would do is I would maybe rotate him a little bit. So he looks sort of like he's heading down. There's my diver. So now I have a diver. I've added him to the mix. Okay? Yeah, we move him up just a bit. Get him in frame. Oops. You know what the problem is? The problem is the frame isn't big enough. Let me get the frame a little bit bigger. There we go. Get the frame just a little bit bigger. Come on. There we go. There we go. That's it. And that's it. There, that's much better. I'll save. All right. So I got a background in and I got a diver in, you know, and you can move the diver wherever you want the diver. This is probably pretty good right about where he is. So then the next thing that I have here is some copy and a photo. So I got about 20 minutes. I got enough time to put a little bit of text, more text up here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bail on this and I'm going to take you through the process of saving these files. It's kind of important that you know how to do this. So I'll put a little more text up in the top here. Let's do that. And then I will swap over and show you how to save these files. All right.
I think we're good enough with putting those in.
All right. Well, then I'll close this out.
Because you showed us on the first one, so it's just a matter.
Yeah. All right. So then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to here. Okay. So we have our finished piece of work. The front is done. We've got it all finished. Come on. All finished the way it should look. Inside's all finished the way it should look. There it is. And we're ready to save this. We have two ways that we want to save this, and we're going to do both. One of them is called collecting for output. You go to the file menu and you go package. All right. So watch when I do the packaging here. Here we go. All right. You get your package dialog box. You have a summary page, which is here. Generally, I use the summary page, and I'll explain that in a minute. But you also have links and image, colors and inks, and print settings and external plugins. I happen to know that we're really not using any external plugins on this. As far as the print settings go, we're leaving the print settings basically the way they are. The color and ink, we're using processed color, and links and images we're going to look at. So let's look at our summary, because again, as I say, I tend to use the summary first. So the fonts, I am being told, and this is important that you check this each time you do this. I'm told that there are 6 fonts that are being used. See it? Mm-hmm. Now, none of them are missing. None of them are embedded. None of them are incomplete. And none of them are protected. If any of these came up, like if one was missing, I would have to go in and I would have to locate what the problem is, and I would have to fix that. Right. But since none are showing up,
that's good.
The fonts are all in good shape. Check this out, though. See this little mark right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, links and images. 8 links are found. None are modified. None are missing. None are accessible. None are embedded. 5 use RGB color space. That is a problem.
Okay.
Right? Well, isn't this a CMYK project?
Yes.
Yes. So what this means essentially is we would have to literally close this packaging. We'd have to cancel this. And we would have to go back in and check each one of our images to find out which ones are using RGB color space and change them to RGB color space. Or once we package it, we could change it then. Ultimately, we're going to package this. So the important thing for us to understand about this is right there. We are getting a message telling us that we have a problem. And the problem is 5 of our images are using RGB color space. They should not. They should be CMYK. So you got that?
Yep.
Okay. Colors and inks. 4 process inks. 0 spot colors. Look at that. 0 spot colors. What does it say?
There is no Pantone colors.
Exactly. So the first thing that we did tonight was we took our logo and we created a process version of it. So now that we've done that, this packaging process is telling us you don't have any spot colors. So we can see in this dialogue right here why we did what we did at the very beginning to remove those spot colors. If we didn't do that and we put that logo in, we would be seeing that there would be 2 spot colors, and we would have to fix that as well.
Okay.
Okay. There are no external plugins, no non-opaque objects on page 1 and page 2. Number of documents, 1. And so we're good with this, right? So really, you get all of your information right here on summary. So I'm going to hit package. And the publication must be saved before continuing. Save it now. So essentially, when I opened this, I didn't save it. It's telling me it must be saved before it can package this. So I'm going to say, yeah, I want to save it, so hit save. And now it's packaging it. And I get this printing instructions. The file name, we're going to call it, I'm going to call this Aqua, A-Q-U-A, T-R-I-F-O-L-D. Trifold. And then you can put your name in here, contact, but this is really printing instructions. Who's going to get it? The printer. So I might put my name, Bill Sweeney. Company, I'd put the company that I'm working for. In this case, I just put some design company. Address, I put some address. I put a phone number in here, which is a no number, but it's, you get the idea. A fax number if you want. Definitely an email, because we do most of our stuff by email. And then instructions. I wrote for instructions, print as instructed. So you put in whatever information you want to put in here, and then you would hit continue. And it is going to now package this. And I'm going to call this Scuba Blue Final. And I'm going to remove the word folder. And I'm going to save it right on my desktop. So it's going to create a package folder. I'm going to hit package, watch it right here. And restrictions apply to copy and font software. We have restrictions and licensing agreements with some of the fonts. The printer knows this. So all you're going to do is click OK, and now it's packaging the document. What it means to package the document is all of these images, that turtle there, the logo here, that picture here, they are all linked to this file. Right. And in order to package it, what it does is it creates a new folder, and it creates inside that folders that have all the fonts collected. These fonts that we use are collected in a folder, and they are linked to this document. And every image that we used in here have been put in a folder in that folder and are relinked so that this document will display properly when I send it to my printer. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so now I'm going to close this down, and let's take a real quick look at this file. Where is it? Where is it?
So you get ready to show us how to fix that problem with the 5 RGB?
Yeah, I'm going to do that now. But before I do that, let me just quickly show you. This is the file that it created. This is the folder, Scuba Blue folder. When I double click on it, I want you to see what's inside here.
Right.
Here is the actual InDesign document. That's the actual document that is going to be printed. See that little thing that says Aqua Trifold? Mm-hmm. That's that little file with the notes on it to the printer. The document fonts, I click on that. These are the copies of the fonts that are being used in the document. So the printer has my versions of the fonts that are being used to create my document. So he can load them and bring them up and make those fonts appear. That's the whole point of this. Let me go back, and here are my links. Those are my links right there. Okay? Now, check it out. JPEG image, it doesn't say whether it's RGB or not. So I'm not exactly sure which one these are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go to Adobe Photoshop. Let me open Photoshop. I'll show you how to fix this. After I show you how to fix this, I'll show you how to make the PDF, and then you should be good to be able to do this. So do you understand the packaging process? You don't actually have to package it, but it's absolutely essential that you know how to do it. That's why I wanted to go through the trouble of showing you that, because it's absolutely essential that you know how to do that.
Right. And last week when we had to do it, that's why I emailed it to you, because I didn't know, because we couldn't submit it because it only lets you submit PDFs when you do our assignment.
Okay, so let's see. I'm not sure which images. I know clownfish. Let's try clownfish. Okay, so let's see what it says here. Right there. See it? Look it. Clown_fish.jpg, 50% RGB. See it?
Yep.
There's one of the problems right there. This is so easy. All you got to do to fix this is go up into the image menu, go to mode, and go to CMYK, and it'll convert it. Hit OK. Now what does it say?
CMYK.
And go File, Save, and close it. And let's do one more, okay? I think this one might be a problem as well. Let's see. Am I right? No, that's CMYK. That's
nope,
no
that's fine.
Yeah, let's check this one. What's that say?
That's RGB. That's it.
There you go. And I'm going to go image
mode CMYK.
Bingo. Hit OK. Now, the important thing for you to understand is save changes. Yes. Okay. And we would do two more. There's two more in here. We're not going to bother. You get the idea.
Right.
The important thing for you to understand is once that document came up, and once that little panel came up, and it showed us that we had 4 incorrect modes. We knew 4 of our images are no good. We just have to remember to go in and change them here. That's all we got to remember to do. So you don't really have to do much other than package it and then go in and fix the color mode for your images. Just don't forget to do it.
So basically, you don't have to go back into the project and switch the pictures. You just go right
as long as you
back
remember,
into here.
Absolutely. As long as you remember that it's telling you 4 images are CMYK, you're going to go in and open the images up and look at them and Photoshop and just make that very quick, simple conversion, and you're good to go.
And then, but when you save it, you have to save it to this file, this package.
Well, you're opening it right from here. See, what I did was I came in and I clicked my links and I opened them from here. So I know that these are the ones that are going to convert because I'm in here and this is where the links are. So I know these are the ones that I want to convert.
So if I open it from here, and then it'll come up in the Photoshop. Well, and then once I save it, it'll save it right in there.
Yeah, let me open one more so that I can just show you what'll happen so that you can really remember. I think Diver might be one. Let's see. Let me see. Come on, move over here. Come on, what's the deal? What's the story here? Oh, got it. It's just a big file. Takes a while. Yeah, okay. See, so Diver is RGB. This is the important thing right here. It tells you right here. Once you open this up, Diver import TIFF. See, it's a TIFF. It's a transparent. See how it's transparent? You can see the background, but it's also RGB. So all we have to do is go to image mode, change it to CMYK, and don't merge. Okay.
You said don't merge?
Yeah, don't merge, because if you merge, it'll flatten the layer and then it'll go white. You don't want that.
So did we do that last time on the other two?
You didn't, but you didn't have a transparent background.
Okay, so if it's transparent, you have to
transparent background. You don't want to merge the layers because that will flatten the file. That will make the background transparency go away. So when you have and the other one won't do that because it's a regular bitmap.
Okay.
Okay. So that's all you got to worry about. That's done. Hit save yes, and that's done. And it's probably that background for the inside. So I'm not going to bother with that. We're almost out of time here. So I want to come back in here and I want to show you how to create a PDF, because the PDF is what you're actually going to submit to me. So you're going to go File, and you're going to go Export, and you're going to go Adobe PDF Print. See it?
Yep.
Okay, so it's going to be just Scuba Blue, final PDF. I'm going to hit save. It already exists. Do I want to replace it? Well, I showed you the one and I sent it to you, right? So you know I already did it. So all this is going to do is it's going to overwrite the one that I already had made earlier. Okay,
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay, so hit yes. You won't have that happen. Okay, so here's the deal. You come in here, and to send it to me, normally you'd use high quality print. I would just go with let's see here. Illustrator default doesn't come up. So usually it'll come up Illustrator default. You can use Illustrator default. You could use high quality print. Press quality is the one that you're going to really want to use. But for my purposes, sending it to me, high quality print's okay. So click high quality print. Ignore this, all right? Pages, all. Make sure pages, all, okay? Got that?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay. The only other thing you have to worry about here is marks and bleeds. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to come in here and I want you to click on all printers marks. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take the crop marks and click it off. And the bleed marks, click them off. Leave the registration marks, the color bars, and the page information. You don't need crop marks because my file already has them there. I made them for you. So you don't have to put them in. The bleed marks you don't need because the bleed marks, they come off here and you don't need them. It'll bleed. You don't need the bleed marks. So just remember to click on all printers marks and then deselect crop and bleed marks. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. And then what you want to do is for bleed, you want to put in, for bleed, you want to put in 0.125 and make sure that this is selected so that it becomes 0.125 all the way around. And then include slug area. And then you should just be able to click on export and it should be done. And let's go in and take a look at it and see what it looks like. That should be it right there. And if I double click on this, we open it up. Yeah, I had the same problem. It didn't like reading it for some reason, but I can drag it in. Let me get it over here and drag it in. It should open it that way. It did the same thing to me. I don't know why. Here we go. Here, look at that. Now drag this back over so you can see the whole thing, and let's see what we got. Okay, so notice that we have our crop marks. Those are my crop marks, right?
Right.
Them? You remember that they're what the original file has. See, because it says fold. See it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You then have your printer's marks. There's your grayscale, your printer grayscale. And you have your printer color marks. And these guys right here, you know what they are?
No.
Those are your registration marks.
Oh, the registration marks. Yeah.
Remember we talked about when you separate them,
Yeah.
you have to have marks for realigning them?
Yeah, I thought you meant what was those color marks up there.
Well, no, these are printer marks. They test the colors. And this tests the grayscale range. These marks, these 4 marks there, are your crop marks. And if you click on this, you also have your inside panel, and your inside panel has all of its marks and everything, and there you go. You submit it to me and make it look like this, and I will have no trouble giving you full credit for it. That's it. I'm done. Any questions? Any final thoughts? Anything you want to tell me?
Nope, I'm just enjoying myself. Thank you very much.
Okay, so was this clear enough for you? Did I give you any trouble with it?
No trouble at all. You actually helped.
Okay, well, that's great. I'm going to hit end recording now.